Welcome, everybody. Nitsan Mosri here. And welcome to another week of the Traveling Investor Live show, where we demystify the art of mastering your mind, body, and wallet. And we're born into our families, and we're born into our society, and we're even born into our parents' financial reality. But what most people don't understand is that just because we're born into a specific family or socioeconomic world, it doesn't mean that's where we have to end up. You see, being born poor is not your fault, but dying poor is. And a majority of people live life by default. They accept the cards that they were dealt and offer no resistance to mediocrity. Here at the Traveling Investor Show, we talk about how to live life on your terms and create the life, finances, relationships that you dream of. So join me, Nitsan Mosri, your host, every week on the live Traveling Investor Show, where we demystify the art of mastering your mind, body, and wallet so that you can be at every softball game, go to every dance and every vacation, and tell your boss to go kiss your ass. Today, I've got an incredible guest. This is her second time on the show. Her name is Dawna Cambell. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Dawna before she comes on, because this is an incredible person, and I'm excited to share for her to share her story of where she was last year when she was on the show and what happened throughout that time. But Dawna has helped people around the world live the life they desire and they deserve through her heart-centered healing approach, combining her wisdom, knowledge, and experience. Dawna is known as the Mind Whisperer, mentoring and empowering heart-centered business owners and entrepreneurs to create instantaneous results by stepping into their power and to gain infinite prosperity. With over 25 years, she's a #1 international best-selling author, Financially Fit, Living the Secrets to an Abundant and Prosperous Life. And as a professional speaker, she's been sharing the stage with Bill Walsh, Mark Victor Hansen, Sharon Lechter, and many others. Dawna has been featured on Fox News, NBC, Yahoo Finance, Amazon Fire, and Roku TV. And people, if you want now, this is the time for you to go grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, because I know Donna's going to drop some nuggets on you, and she's going to blow your mind of what she's going to share with you. So without further ado, Dawna, what's happening? How are you?
Hi, and thank you so much for having me back. It's an amazing pleasure and an honor because I am so excited.
It's been great. I know you've had an incredible journey since the last time we've been here together.
Yes. And yet the best is yet to come. So
I
this
love
was
it.
like
I
a
love it.
transition year and it was pretty phenomenal.
That's fantastic. So why don't you share with everybody kind of where, your background, a little bit
Mhm.
about who you are and where you were last time we shared this platform together.
Yes. I came from the financial planning world and I wanted to create opportunities for other people to have money, income, things for their children that I didn't have growing up. So I was really passionate about creating those money opportunities. So I became a financial advisor and I was responsible for $500 million of other people's money. And what happened during that time was I traded my health. I couldn't digest food for over 2 years. My
Wow.
marriage ended, which was full of infidelity. And then I became financially devastated being a single parent of raising two children, even though I followed all the money rules. And that was when I knew that there was something different.
Hmm.
So I turned to the natural healing world to start uncovering meditation and brainwave patterns and science and physics. And after about 12 years, I started seeing a lot of correlation between our subconscious mind and our subconscious money patterns to what we were creating and not creating in the world of money. So I wrote a book called Financially Fit, Living the Secrets to an Abundant and Prosperous Life. And I teach the Financially Fit program today, which is more of a movement because it's redefining how we see financial fitness. And so last year, we had just launched the book for everyone to read, and now we are a lot a lot further along, sharing these messages all over the world on different stages in a lot of different ways.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I love what you said, that there's a correlation. between
Yes.
the physical world,
Hmm.
the subconscious world, and the energy world that's outside of us. It's
Yes.
it's it's all connected.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. The problem is our awareness is only about 10%.
Hmm.
So the other 90%, we're just not aware of what's happening, but that's how everything is connected.
So when you say it's all connected, right? I understand
Mhm.
what you're saying. What does it mean for someone who doesn't really know what we're talking about? What does that mean connected? What does it mean the spiritual world or the psychological, the subconscious? How, people will ask, how is it connected? What does that mean?
Mhm. Well, okay. Our thoughts create our reality. We all hear about the law of attraction. But in order for that thought to go to create for you and bring you back what you're thinking, you have to work with the law of magnetism, which is based on how you feel, which is 90% of your energy field. So we can hold the thought, I'm rich and abundant. I want to be prosperous. But yet, we might feel a less than or a lack energy. That's a misalignment. So when we hold the thought, we're sending out the opposite signal. So that's what comes back into our life. And then we often wonder, how come this isn't working? How come I can't get from point A to point B and I'm frustrated? Well,
Right.
frustration is not going to bring you abundance. It's just not. Happiness will, but the frustration will. So what I talk and share a lot about in Financially Fit is the ability to align what's in the heart space with the mindset so you get results 100% of the time. And when that happens, everything in your life will shift and change physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because the universe, the energy that you send out, brings back what you're feeling. It doesn't compartmentalize, it doesn't separate, it doesn't say, oh, you feel this about money and this about a relationship. It just goes, nope, you feel lack. So here, have more lack. And that's how it works. So that's why it's all connected. It's all based on your energy vibration. And then it affects everything in your paradigm for work, for your life.
Sure, sure. Okay, so that's incredible. Now, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate with you here, if you don't mind.
Mhm,
So, I have a couple. I know some people
mhm,
that they're always saying, I'm always a positive person. I always think positively, but nothing ever happens to me.
mhm,
Where just like you said, I'm a positive person.
mhm.
I'm always happy. I'm always jumpy and this and that. And it's great. And yeah, I'm thinking positive, 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 but I never get that deal. I never get that job. It never happens to me.
Right. Why doesn't that work?
Why doesn't that
Because there's
work?
that misalignment because they might think, I think positive, but
Hmm.
the underlying emotion and feeling that the signal sends out might not be, I will get the job. It might be, how come I never get the job? Because that's really the subconscious thought. So your subconscious records everything from the moment you're born to the day that you exit this earth. And what it does, it records everything as a literal event, but it's assigning these emotions and feelings to the event. So early on, we might think, I want the job. But if you felt frustration, stress, worry, pressure, that gets stuck in the subconscious and it's an automatic mind loop tape. It just plays. So it doesn't matter what you do because the energy is so much stronger than the actual thought. It's always going to return the energy behind the thought. And that's what I talk about in mind whispering. You start with the thought, you find the thought underneath the thought, under the thought, under the thought, back to the original thought and the energy. And then we can see where that got stuck and what's returning to you. Your brain is the fastest supercomputer, so it's reprogrammable, and we can change that to a different feeling that's more in alignment of, I want the job. So then you get the job instead of the frustration, the stress, the worry, the pressure,
Hmm.
all of it when that comes in alignment.
It's all about being aligned. It's all about
Yes.
that energy flowing smoothly, right?
Mhm.
Flowing unencumbered and letting it do what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and and it's funny, there's Dr. Joe Dispenza. We've heard of him.
Mhm. Yes.
He, I love what he's doing because, for thousands of years, all the sadhus and the babus and the
Mhm.
babas and these
Right.
spiritual people from all walks of life, from all around the globe, have been going inside themselves, right? For lack of a better word, meditating, right?
Mhm.
Call it what you want. Um, and they've been saying these things for thousands of years.
Mhm.
This is it all. It's all energy. It's your aura. It's your field. It's your whatnot. And we've grown so far disconnected from it
Mhm.
that I love what Dr. Joe Dispenza is doing. I'm sure there's many other people out there as well. He's just the one that just popped into my head, where he's taking science
Yes.
and he's proving this. He's proving how through meditation you can heal your physical body from all your ailments.
Yes.
How through meditation you can connect to the quantum field and then manifest anything you want. It's
Mhm.
not this, foo-foo, you know, crazy nut and whatever you want to call it for how was I people used to call me the you know the spiritual kind, the hippies that out
Right.
there. It's for them, but
Mhm.
now he's proving it, so where it's science.
Yes.
Your
It is.
brain waves change, and when they
Mhm.
change, your physical being changes.
It does. And physics is a large part of that. And the science, the physics backs everything up in the healing world with all of those natural healers that came before us around
Hmm.
how this works. And it explains and shares and demonstrates exactly how. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Big physics fan. Love Dr. Joe Dispenza and a lot of the other physicists that I read. There's an Italian physicist, Carlo Ravalli, and he will talk about how the time space continuum works and how to bend time and space and how it's really an illusion. And that all
Hmm.
filters into exactly some of those ancient teachings as well.
Yeah, what was his name? Carlo.
Carlo Ravalli?
Ah, yes, Rivali. Yes, yes, yes. Now I
Yeah.
remember. Carlo. Mhm, yeah, I just wrote his name down. I'd like to check him out. Absolutely. There's so many, and it's incredible that we have the internet and the
Mhm.
opportunity to have access to all of this information today. So I tell people, I coach people in real estate and with mindset and whatnot, and I tell them that there's no excuse today.
Mhm.
There's no excuse for you not to go out and to achieve the life that you want, because we have all this information so accessible to us.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all right there at the fingertips. You just have to look. You just have to be curious, and it will always provide. The universe always does.
Absolutely. So with people listening to us today, and they're going to listen to us in the future, how can they align themselves?
Mhm.
Right? If they're the person that says, you know what, look, I've been doing my best. I've been, like, just like yourself, right? You said I was
Mhm.
following all of the financial laws and rules. I
Yes.
was doing everything that they told me to do. They said put 20% aside for savings. I did that. They said put 10% for this.
Mhm.
I was doing everything, but I wasn't getting ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what can you share with them to help
Uh-huh.
them start aligning themselves, figuring themselves out, what they need to do, where they need to go?
Okay. So the very first step is awareness. And awareness is the key. Being aware of how you truly feel. So when you identify, which is the second step, you have to identify it as a feeling. So the first thing you might want to do is set a timer on your cell phone and set it for, I don't know, 3 hours and 42 minutes from wherever you're at now. And when that timer goes off, because it's not at the top of the hour, it's not at the half hour, you kind of forget about it, it's a weird time. Then when that timer goes off, you stop whatever it is that you're doing and you assess how you feel in the moment. And when you assess how you feel, you need to identify it as an emotion or feeling, and that is key. So if it's happy and joyful, perfect, you're not going to do anything else. But if it's anything other than that, you'll want to write it down on a piece of paper because that's going to give you a clue to what's happening in the subconscious. So if you say you're paying your bills and you feel some stress and some worry because there may not be enough money to pay it or you're waiting for that next paycheck, what you want to do is write those things down because that's going to give you the clue. And then when you identify that stress, worry, pressure, anxiety, depression, the second thing you want to ask yourself is, how would you rather feel? Because we don't want to live in a stressful state. We don't want to have anxiety. We don't want to have depression, but write down what you really do want to feel. And then I can say, you can just come see me and I'll show you how to change it and make it a permanent change in the subconscious. But something that you can actually do in the moment is just a quick breathing exercise. When we breathe in all of the oxygen and good things that our body needs. And when we breathe out the things our body doesn't need. So then what happens is you can breathe in peace and breathe out stress. It's kind of a quick fix. Your body will go through a physiological change. It'll shift your mindset. Your brainwave patterns will alter a little bit. And then when you go back to your task at hand, you have more focus, you have more clarity, you have more balance, and it just unfolds because we transition that stress in the moment to maybe peace and stillness to what was needed. Now, that's an in the moment kind of shift and change, but it will start helping and working. But for a permanent change, because it's associated to an event that probably happened in childhood, that's when you get to come see me to make it permanent.
There you go. There you go. That's fantastic. Awesome. So, all right, now let's talk about your financially fit program.
Uh-huh.
What is that? How did that come about? I guess that came from the book,
Right?
right?
It
So
did.
you went and how did you start promoting it? How did you get out there to people? Tell us more about the program itself.
Mhm. Yes. So, what I was wanting to do was take everything that I was doing in the healing world from an individual level and take it to the global stage. And of course, you write your book, the book goes into the program because we can teach others how to do what we know how to do. And I really have this passion about making the world a better place and impacting the world. And so I really wanted to branch out what I was doing because I learned what I could do from one person, I could do for many people at the same time. And if I taught you how to do it, you could do it for yourself. I wouldn't have to
Mhm.
do it for you all the time. And then that is a skill set that you can take and share with others. And that's one way to create that ripple effect. So, one of the ways that I started getting out the Financially Fit program, I like to think of it as a movement because it's really about redefining financial fitness, because it's not about stocks and bonds and interest and insurance. It's really about the subconscious energy that we're in and how we relate it to money, because money is the outside energy world to who we are as an energy being on the inside. And after spending lots of money on lots of different programs to try and get my message out to the world, I came across a community called the Mentor Studio. And over this whole last year, working with them, getting the skill sets that I needed through mentoring, I'm now able to take everything that I've created, and now I am taking it from the individual level to the large global stage. And when I talk about large global stages, I'm talking about several thousand people. They're coming. That's this next year. And it's been an intricate part of having my program, having my message, and taking it and sharing it with the world.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful. How did you visualize all this? Did you visualize this exactly step by step? Was it something that you started on one path and then it shifted and morphed into something else?
That is a great question because I was still working in the healing industry as a healer. And I sat down, I had this brand new notebook, and I opened it up and I went to go write out my next set of business steps. And what ended up happening for that time was I saw this vision. And I was standing on stage speaking in front of thousands of people. There was another counterpart there also speaking. We were talking around the topic of money. It was kind of like a he said, she said, two sides of the same coin type of topic. And I remember putting down my notebook going, whoa, where did that come from? Because never in a million years did I think ever consider speaking on stage as about what I wanted to share with the world. This was in 2018, the beginning of 2019. And what happened was sequentially, step by step, different aspects of all of it just started showing up in my life. And then I started looking at different ways to pursue. And that was when I went and Started looking at a lot of different programs, different people who said, I can help you get from here to there. And then you spend all your dollars, and then you're like, I'm still not there yet. What happened? And
Mhm.
just in the moment where I thought I wasn't going to move forward again, I got introduced to Michael Silvers. I got introduced to Mary Glorifield, who are some key mentors in my life. And then they shared with me what their vision was with the mentor studio. And I went, okay, I'll give it one more try. And then everything started aligning, coming into fruition. And here I am, um, doing what I always, well, I never always thought I was going to do this, but what I guess my greater path is, because I accepted that to bring my message out.
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. So the vision just happened.
It happened. I went to write business steps of the step one, step two, step three. Here's my list of have to do's. And instead, I saw this really great, big, huge stage that I was on. And I went, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And here we are 4 years later, it's happening.
There you go. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's the way it kind of happens.
Hmm.
You have to be open to letting that energy come inside you, that idea, that thought, because it's out there. It's swirling all over the
Hmm.
place, right?
Absolutely.
I like, we have to become the receiver and the I forget the other word, the
Transmitter?
transmitter, the
Transmitter,
transmitter,
yes. Like a
right?
radio transmit, yes.
Exactly. So we have to transmit, but we also have to be open to being receiving, right?
Yes.
Because and we have to be careful what to transmit.
Yes, because if it's not in the right energy, you'll have that misalignment and you'll get back what you don't want.
It's
Absolutely. Which I
yeah.
had a few years of that, so I got to realign in some places.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And even with people like yourself or like myself who are aware of yes,
Mhm,
thoughts are things. You have to be careful what you put out. Human beings are human beings, right? Our
mhm.
perfection is our flaws,
Yes.
right? And so sometimes we'll put something out there and it comes back and we're like, oh, where did this come from?
Mhm,
Well, it was from that thought 6 months ago that I had, or
mhm,
that what I put out there. So it's very important to I like what you said, is to be aware, right? To
mhm.
write down your thoughts when you take note of them,
Yeah,
because
the
once you bring
feeling
it out.
behind the thoughts.
Hmm. Right. And then you got to start peeling it back, right? Why did I
Mhm,
think that? How does that serve me today? Did it serve me well? And
mhm.
start dialing it back and back and back to probably something that happened in our childhood,
Yep, every
right?
single time, every single
That
time.
right? That our mom or dad said something, or a sibling said something, and that was the time that our subconscious caught
Mhm.
it, right?
Yep.
And we made a definition. We created a definition, an emotional definition, an identification of it, of who I am, what I am, and we just started living with it,
Mhm,
and it became part of us. So it's detective work. It's
mhm. Yeah,
detective work,
it
right?
is. Yes.
What's can you give us your name again? The name of
Yeah.
the book?
Yeah, it's called Financially Fit: Living the Secrets to an Abundant and Prosperous Life.
Yeah, we'll type that out and you'll have it out there. And it's incredible how many. So okay, so let me ask you a question like this, right?
Mhm,
There are people out there that go and they're good human beings. They put positive energy out there. They're doing it, but they're struggling. And then you get
mhm,
people that come into the playing field and you know they're doing crazy stuff and they're wildly successful. And the name that pops into my head is the Wolf of Wall Street, right?
mhm,
What's his name? Jordan Belfort, right? So
mhm.
he went and money just started flowing to
Yeah,
him, right? But he
yeah.
was doing illegal stuff, and obviously he got caught. He went to jail, and so forth and so on. So how does that play in the world, right? Where you have good
Mhm.
people that are struggling, that are moving through it, and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Trudging their way through, and then you've got other, again, it's in the it's in what we see, right? There's a lot of layers underneath to people's success,
Right.
right?
There is. Uh-huh.
So what I'm trying to get at is, what was a guy like Jordan Belford, what was his subconscious thoughts and alignment versus the guy who's a
Right.
good person, or a woman who's a good
Mhm.
person, but they're struggling?
Right. So for the good person that's struggling, that's sacrificing, that can't quite put it all in alignment, those are some of the energy blocks that need to shift and change. Yes, you're a good person, you're kind, you're patient, you're all of these, but you have an internal battle going on of that struggle and that sacrifice that needs to shift out. And those are probably things that got taught to you. Some things could have been encoded in the DNA, depending on your age. My parents lived through the Depression, so you had to save everything. So there was some of
Right.
that coding in there that you have to look at and change. For the person that seems to, it comes easy and it has it all, but if it's not done through virtue,
Mm-hmm.
ethically, morally, their karma will always catch up to them. And it will have a great big huge downfall because they didn't receive it through the virtues of the peace, the kindness, the goodness. They did it in ways through vices, but yet had a charisma or a magnetism that people just gave it to them. And then they had their downfall every single time. So any person that's ever done that and it's been easy or it seems easy and it was in an unscrupulous way, it caught up to them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
every single time.
Right. I guess yes. Karma, it can be a good friend, and it can be a good accountability coach.
Right. Or we can just look at the natural laws of cause and effects.
That's right.
There were some causes and the natural effect happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural law. It will always unfold.
Absolutely. So basically, what we are trying to tell everyone that's listening and that's today going out there and going to listen is keep your mind straight. Go out there, be a good person, but watch your thoughts.
Yeah. And the
Right?
feelings. Yes.
Watch your
And
thoughts and your feelings.
we
Go
do
ahead.
this so unconsciously too, because we will say things like, like having richness and abundance, but yet the very next thing you do after you ask for what you're asking for is a criticism of somebody else, or you might blame somebody else, or you might be upset or angry because someone cut you off in traffic. Even though you're like, I want all these really great, nice, kind things, but then you're upset because road rage. Well,
Mhm.
then you're not in that alignment and you cancel the very good thing that you asked for. And it just happens subconsciously. So we want to really pay attention to those feelings that we feel because those are fluid and they're shiftable and changeable. And when they change, your subconscious reprograms in the brain, it's the fastest supercomputer, and it will give you a different reality every single time.
Isn't it amazing how quickly the right shift can change everything in our
Mhm.
lives?
Yes,
It
absolutely.
it can be instantaneous, but you gotta have that tweak, that right tweak.
Mhm. And every time a change takes place, it is instantaneous. It's just that we have to have the awareness that it happened. And then your brain, the neurons fire down a different pathway, and then you send out different energy, and it comes back to you, and you have a different life every single time.
Amazing how that works.
And it works with our body and how our chemical balance is and the hormones and all of that, because you will feel it in the moment when it happens.
Mhm. Amazing. I remember growing up in New York. I'm a New York City street kid, and I grew up in the
Mhm.
'70s in New York City and whatnot, and it was all about just chasing the money, right? I was brought up in a family so like your parents were in the Great Depression. Mine came
Mhm.
from the Holocaust and from
Mhm.
the independence of Israel. So they weren't they were fighters, they were survivors, it was all that, and a lot of that mindset kind of sinks in it, like you said, into the next
Mhm.
generation, right? And um we have to be aware of that, because a
Yes,
lot of time, I would say, well, not a lot of times, not most of the time, but probably all of the time, it's not even our own thoughts
corrects.
that are affecting us, it's others.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
that awareness right there, clicks a lot of light bulbs for people.
Right. And we see this repeated throughout history from time and time again. When we had the Great Depression, it was because the stock market crashed. And then during the Depression, yes, everyone was in a depressed state, but then newspapers were coming out with articles and titles saying a nation crippled. Well, the people that resonated with that feeling developed, and then we had a polio outbreak, a polio epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
And then not everyone had polio, though, only some people. And it was the ones that resonated with that. And then to pull us out of all of that, it took us electing a president who had polio to pull us out of that epidemic. Well, the last couple of years, we've seen the exact same thing with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the ones that have resonated with the feelings and the belief structures of the fear, the sadness, the sorrow, and the energy of that, what was going on. And a virus is about unworthiness issues and feeling like you're worthy of love. You could have potentially attracted that into your life unknowingly because there was a collective consciousness around it. But if you didn't have that same belief structure or pattern or set of feelings, you didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you could be in the same family, just like polio. It's like history repeating itself. It's just a different thing. It's not polio, it was COVID. Different virus.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. It truly is. So I was saying that I grew up in New York City, and it was all about money, and that was the focus. And I was
Mhm.
always like, energy, energy, that's all bull. It's all crap. I mean, come on, it's tangible stuff. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And what really hit me was when I started traveling the world after my father passed away when I was 25 years old, and I went traveling, and I went to all these third world countries, and started meeting all these different babas and buddhas and
Mhm.
gurus, and sitting with them and learning from them and watching from them, and really experiencing what this thing energy is, or what karma is, or trusting in the universe,
Mhm.
and letting it guide you. um, it was eye-opening. And I think I just realized maybe where that eye opening came from. I think that expression comes from your third eye opening. It's an
Yes.
eye opening,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
my eye opened, and I realized, and the energy that flowed with me, I became a Reiki master, and I started
Mhm.
studying shiatsu and reflexology, and all these modalities of how to heal people holistically, because I was entrenched in this idea that we're all connected. It's all connection. It's all energy.
It is.
Everything is energy, just vibrates differently. And if you can tune your vibration into whatever level you want, you can ride that wave.
Mhm.
And I brought it back into what I call the material world, this physical
Mhm.
world that we live in. And people always ask me, they say, listen, you make a shitload of money, but how does that connect with your spiritual world? I said, very easily and very
Yes.
well. I said,
Yes,
my
it does.
spiritual world is connected, and that's why this is happening.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right, that's why my relationship with my wife is good, and I can
Mhm.
tell you when it's not good, the inside of me is not good, and that's where it started from, with my kids, and with that, when you're aware,
Yes.
you can really play with it, and not in a
Mhm.
manipulative sense where you're manipulating other people, but you can play with it so that you can get what you want out of life.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And if you stay in that energy of the happiness, no matter where you go, it's that ripple effect. Others are going to be happy around you. But if
Mhm.
you're not, and you're in, say, anger or you're upset, then others around you are going to take on that same energy as well. So if you really want to make a difference in the world and an impact, stay aware with how you feel and make sure that you're on the up and up, let's say, instead of the down low.
That's right. That's right. I was watching one of Dr. Dispenza's videos, and he was saying that he starts his meditations, and he starts people in the meditation world through gratitude,
Mhm. Yeah.
because that gratitude will open up the heart,
Yep.
will
Gratitude and
open up
happiness does.
all of that, and it will then go up into the pituitary, and
Mhm.
everything in there, and you'll start transmitting that
Mhm.
into the world. And when you transmitting that gratitude and that appreciation and the love, well, the first thing that happens is that you open up, and you just, it's like a weight that falls off of your shoulders.
Mhm.
But then it's what you get back. You get back health. You get
Yes.
back that glitter in your eyes,
Mhm.
right? And then from there, as you know,
Mhm.
it's exponential what happens to you.
Yes. And you can practice this out in the world, by the way. A real simple way is if you're at the grocery store and you realize your clerk is not having a good day, just smile, be happy, be kind back to them. Ask them how their day is going or wish them well. And then watch them start elevating. Stay off to the side, and they will be nice and kind to the next several people in a row because they felt better being in your presence. And that's how you
Amen.
can share in that energy world. Absolutely. But if you
Amen.
do it through gratitude and happiness, it does open up the heart space and it will open up the other people's heart space as well.
Awesome. How can people get in touch with you to find out more about your financially fit program?
Mhm. The easiest way here in the United States is just text the word abundance to 26786. It's a short phone number. So you type in 26786 and then the message is just abundance. And then that will connect you to all of the social media, a connection call, and to the 5 tips to being financially fit. And then from there, it'll show you the book and some other things there. If you're outside of the United States, just go to DawnaCambell.net and it's the exact same thing. It's just on a server instead.
Awesome. Donna, thank you so much. It's so awesome talking
Thank
with you,
you.
because it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're not in alignment with yourself and with your energy, your world, your inner world, it's not going to happen. And you're living proof of that. You're living
That's
proof that you were able to go, like you said, from following all the rules and
right.
not making it happen.
Now I create the rules and it just is.
That's right. That's right. So, travelers, if you're out there and you want to make it happen for yourself, if you want to make it happen for your family, if you want to get in alignment, text the word abundance to 26786 and get on Donna Campbell's platform. Get into the Financially Fit program where you can start to manifest the life that you want. And it's all about you. No one else is going to do it for you. Donna, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
It's been a pleasure having you here and sharing your story, sharing your success, because I know other people out there can relate to where you were, what you were going through, and looking and saying, "Hey, you know what? I want this too."
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And we're here for you.
Awesome. Travelers, thank you so much for being here. You can check us out on all the different podcast stations, Spotify, iHeart, and many, many more. Until next week, I'm Nitsan Mosery, the traveling investor, and we'll come back with another show on how to demystify the art of mastering your mind, body, and wallet. Until next time, I'm Nitsan Mosery. I'll see you somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Take care. Awesome.